Oh my gosh, this is Heather Biederman for Liberty Librarian. I'm sorry, I'm muted. I was muted. I was like, what's happening? No voice stuff is happening. Oh my God. So, good news this week. Happy Thursday. You made it this far through the week. Things are good. Cheers to you, my friends. And of course, the phone rings. So, I'm going to just mute it for a sec. It's annoying. It's probably a political call. It's the way it goes. But what a crappy beginning of a show. And they hung up. Okay, so let's start over. This is Heather Biederman for Liberty Librarian. Yes, welcome to the show. It just seems like, craziness all around. So what I was saying, but while I was muted, and I should have seen that coming a mile away, is that I got good news today. My cat Rory went into the vet yesterday for his old man kitty checkup. He's over 11 years old, so of course they start doing that. And you had the blood tests, the pee tests, all of the tests, and they called back today and said he is great. He's like a young cat, very vigorous and healthy, and he isn't fat. There's nothing wrong with him. He might need to get his teeth cleaned, and he hates that. So we're probably gonna be doing that, but we'll figure that out. But the Zoe is coming up on Friday tomorrow, so we will see. Knock on wood. She's always the one I'm a little more worried about. So if you've seen my mascot Rory walking in front of my face during a show, he's actually around. I feel his eyeballs looking at me somewhere. But, they're hopefully going to be around for many more years. I like them to be happy and healthy and vigorous until 20. That'd be awesome. So that's not the way the world works, Heather. I know. So 2 days ago was the autumnal equinox, solstice. Let me look. What's the word? Words are hard for me this week. I don't know why. My brain is all melty. Autumnal equinox 2020. So that happened on Tuesday, September 22nd at 8:30 a.m. officially in the Northern Hemisphere where I live. So grooviness, right? So I was thinking about it's all things fall now because winter is coming, right? But until then, let's enjoy fall. Like in Minnesota, it's like that. Just like spring. It goes so quickly, and then it lasts a little bit longer here, I think, than spring does. Spring, we just pretty much go from winter right into summer. But I love fall. I love the colors changing. You have little fires out in your yard, and look up at the sky, and it is just marvelous. So I was thinking about with time coming and going, sometimes it's good to focus on the good things that you want to have happen in your life. And, like for my cat Rory, it's getting a new box to sit in and chew on. And, for me, sometimes it's just finding a new show on Netflix. I watched the, what is it? Enola Holmes. It's has that Millie, whatever the heck her name is, Millie Toastmaster, hot stuff. She did really good. Actually, the main reason I watched it is because Henry Cavill is in it, and he's hot. If you ever want a Netflix show to watch, The Witcher is awesome, and I love it. It's kind of fun just to have new shows to watch every so often. I've been obsessed with this Ted Lasso show that's on the Apple Plus TV. And if you get a chance to watch it, you can watch a first free episode if you want to just see what the first one's like there. So good. It was based on this series of ads about this super positive mustache looking guy. And it's pretty freaking awesome. My husband and I are both obsessively watching that. I'm watching, God, what else am I watching? There's not as much right now. There's only a couple shows, but upcoming is Mandalorian and WandaVision, I guess, is coming out sometime before the end of the year. So that's on Disney Plus, which I'm actually excited about because I got a whole year of Disney Plus subscriptions and I hardly watch it. Andy watches them more because it has all the Star Wars pretty much, except for maybe one. So that's been worth it to us. But since they have postponed all the Marvel movies until next year, gotta have something. So at least we got our a little bit of Marvel on TV, and that's better than nothing, right? So, and like this week, I have a renewed vigor towards my financial independence, retire early plan. Husband and I have been working on our workbook to try to get all the money stuff figured out. And one of the things that I thought was very good is we reached out to a financial advisor and we had a good discussion and it worked out really good. So now I feel like maybe someday I can retire. Might be 80 or 90, but I'm gonna someday. Here comes Rory. So he's been kind of naughty after his shenanigans at the vet. Hi, Rory. Don't knock everything over, please. Yeah, one of the main things, from what I've been talking about is that I've been working on doing a Duolingo. You remember I was talking about that, having my 30-day anniversary for doing words and stuff. I'm not good at it. Like, I think I'm a better reader on it than I would be at talking in it, because I feel like whenever I hear them talking, it's like the words look different and sound different, but when I read it, I get it. And if I slow it down enough, I can get it. So it's going to be a while before I'm like talking on the show in Portuguese. So it's fun though, but you want to know why, right? It's because part of my fantasy life now is imagining going to Portugal and moving there in early retirement. And I was thinking about this today. It's a silly thing. I am a librarian. I'm a libertarian. I'm born in the month of October, so I'm a Libra. And if I move to Portugal, the area, the peninsula where Spain and Portugal are, is called Iberia. So I could be an Iberian too, an Iberian librarian, libertarian. Oh God, what else could I be? Oh my God, I'm not a vegetarian, so I can't fit that in there. But I just got a kick out of that, like really lame. Like that would be kind of cool. So got that going for me. I don't know. I was kind of thinking like we should do some sort of spell. I know it's totally wacko. This whole year has been down the pooper, right? And I was thinking that if we put all our minds together, maybe we can force the universe to put us back on track. We've gone off the rails this long. Like just kind of a psychic push in the right direction so we can have good things. The economy gets better. Businesses stop shutting down. I don't know. I was sort of expecting like this year for them to go, well, we've given up on Social Security, all the things that a lot of people are counting on so they can retire someday. I always feel like Liberland. Yeah, I'm not sure what they speak there. Liberland. Or Liberia. That's funny. I'm gonna look it up. Liberland. It's the Free Republic of Liberland. Where is it? I'm gonna look at the map. It's by Serbia and Croatia. So it's let's see. I'm gonna look this up. Okay. I'm going to bring this up and share on the screen so people can see what you're talking about, because I think that's a really good idea, Ginger. Here we go. This is on the Libertarian page. Oh, I thought I clicked it. There, we'll click it again. Am I on the right page now? Nope. Stop that. We'll share to a different one. I just used the wrong tab, I think. Sometimes it's just like a lot of junk going on behind the scenes. Okay, so Libertarians resolved to support the development of Liberland. This is 2 years ago, so I'm not sure how far they've come, but it's kind of interesting. So you can see Hungary, Serbia, Croatia, and in the middle, Liberland. A little bitty tiny area. It says Liberland is a new republic organized according to libertarian values on a disputed piece of land of about the size of Gibraltar, about 2.7 square miles between Serbia and Croatia. Liberland's president, Vit Jedlica, was a guest at a quarterly meeting of the Libertarian National Committee last December 2 years ago. He had asked the LNC to approve a resolution in support of the development of the Free Republic of Liberland as a free and independent nation. The story, how it came to be, talks about how political boundaries can fluctuate over time. And so the Danube River is recognized border of Serbia and Croatia, like many rivers, is meandered and altered by hydraulic engineering over the years. So it's changed. And the discrepancy where the border was claims by disputed areas controlled by Serbia, but neither side claims the area is now Liberland. So that would be an interesting follow-up to see where that is. I think that's kind of cool, right? That's neat. Hello, Total Vagabonds! How you doing? Yay! Good to see you. I always am happy to see Total Vagabonds. That's just awesome that somebody on like the other side of the world is watching at the same time that I'm talking. It's so weird, but awesome. I am thrilled constantly. So we're just talking about Liberland. I don't know. 2 years. I haven't heard much about it since. I want to see if I can Google it again. What's happening in the news with Liberland? There's a website, Free Republic of Liberland. You can make me go down the rabbit hole, Ginger. You can become a citizen. How does that work? There's news. What's this say? It's a tiny little place. I think they have just enough room for boats. So there's an online summer conference to take place. But this is, when was it? It said on Friday. So it was last August, I think. So you too could have found out. They had a summer festival. Was already sold out. They're going to have Liberlandian speakers from all over the world. So now I'm curious. Part of me is like, kind of wants to go in and like see how to become a citizen. So, I mean, it's kind of neat. It's cool. You're cool. Yay. So, having a beer. Oh, I went to work today. Now I'm dreaming about Liberland. I wonder what that's like. It's like a really tiny space, though. I mean, wonder like if they have a government office there or something. You know, what I would do if I were them is, since you're your own space, like build the biggest, tallest freaking building you can, and like everybody can live there, free. Although I kind of imagine it'd be like Judge Dredd, you know, like the big towers where then all of a sudden you get like they're shooting rockets across the space and, you know, people are getting thrown off and whatever. But it's kind of cool sounding. I mean, like how could you do Utopia if you only had a couple miles of space? I think it could be groovy. So, oh, there's Zoe. You don't see her very often. I don't think she's going to come close enough where I can grab her, though. Come here, Zoe. No? Yeah. So, I kind of think that would be awesome. Why don't, I know they were talking about the Free State stuff here in our, for libertarians as well. I'm curious about, you know, there's always little pockets of space where you can, like basically secede from the Union and, you know, become your own country. But I think they kind of find ways to screw you over, so you can't really do that in many places in the United States anyway. But I've heard about people wanting to make floating islands, like floating countries. And they did one that ends up being like a internet server. What's that one called? Let's see. It is called the First Floating Nation with its own government and in the Pacific Ocean. It's set to launch in 2022. So next, like in 2 years. We will have its own government in Vacron cryptocurrency. So, mind you, this is about 2 years ago where they talked about it. It's a $50 million floating island project. It's a pilot program in a partnership with the government of Polynesia. So, there's a PayPal founder, Peter Thiel, will see a floating nation built off the island of Tahiti. So, they're going to have hotels, restaurants, offices. I haven't heard anything since, so I'm not sure that's even going to keep moving forward. But what a cool idea, right? Here, I'm going to see. Am I doing sharing? I'm not doing sharing. Let me just show you what the island stuff looks like. It's kind of cool. I just get excited about that. So this is like a computer mock-up. It's like just a little island. You have space for boats, and they can have little houses off of it. I mean, and that would be... I think I've heard that this is going to be multiple islands. So they're going to have 300 homes, as well as hotels, restaurants, offices, and more. So the governance, I'm kind of curious about that too. You could live in paradise on an island with its own government. And it says islands to house climate refugees. The scheme is the creation of nonprofits called Seastanding Institute and Blue Frontiers, along with their investment fund through donations and their cryptocurrency, Veyron. So the plans, they're $50 million. They're going to have green roofs with vegetation and construction that uses bamboo, coconut fiber, wood, recycled metal, and plastic. And it will float in international waters and operate within its own laws to liberate humanity from politicians. Sounds good. I'm in. That would be freaking awesome. Here's another cool looking picture. Doesn't that look beautiful? I'm not sure that it can move in the water or if they're going to have it anchored down, but I like the idea. It looks pretty. Oh, there's more pictures. Let's look at the pictures, shall we? I feel like I'm all over the place today, so you're going to have to put up with that. So it looks like they have something to prevent waves. So that's kind of nice. And it has an opening so boats can come in and out, but it's enough of protection so big waves would get broken by it. So you would never really have like seasickness from like living on your boathouse. It's kind of amazing looking, actually. What a neat idea. It looks like a snowflake in the water. And so they'd have like no politicians. I don't know how this is gonna work. This is like amazing to me. And they'd orient towards the sunset, so the platforms would move, and they would have the stars and the swells. The platforms allow the development of strategy of the coral so it wouldn't hurt the environment. Yeah, I want to live there. Isn't that cool? So this is where they say it is. Okay, here's Australia. This is the Marshall Islands, American Samoa, and Tahiti's out there. So it'll be like near Tahiti, right? So you too can live in paradise all the time. I could do that. So if Portugal doesn't work out, maybe I'll be living on a floating island in paradise. I'm sure you got to be really rich to live there, though. Look at those yachts. Holy moly. How cool would that be? And then they all have like terrible like cruise ships coming in and out. I think they need to do something so they don't have that. Oh man, that's like one of those floating hotels. So, I mean, they're thinking it out. I love that utopia dream. That's exciting to me. We'll see what happens. I haven't heard much about it, but why not? Why not have paradise? Oh, here, what's Ginger say? I know of the one where the guy and his wife were just caretakers of the coast of Japan in international water. The Japanese government put out a death warrant for them. Last I heard, they're fleeing for their lives. So I hope they go. They get to safety. That's terrible. Yeah, doesn't surprise me though. Caretakers of the coast of Japan in international waters. Yeah. What can you do, man? That's just amazing. So maybe it's one of the things in the back of my head too is, I'm very dissatisfied with like the two-party system for sure. I'm very excited about Jo Jorgensen, and she's doing great campaigning. Will we win this year? I mean, I know how I'm going to vote, but I also really don't think either of the options that the Democrats or the Republicans have put forward are great choices, right? So if we get one of those, it's not going to be another great 4 years, okay? So there's a part of me that's like, if that happens, let's all just go somewhere and start over. Like, wipe the slate clean. Let's get the hell out of Dodge. We'll do something like different. I just, I just feel like it's an overwhelming world that we live in lately, and I just want it to move forward to something more positive, something that we can work towards, build on. And instead of treading water for dear life or running away from whatever militaristic crap is coming our way, shooting at us with pepper spray and the heat rays and whatnot. We live in this bonkers world with murder hornets and oh my god, it's like hurricanes, like double rainbow hurricanes, and like what else could happen? They have like murder mosquitoes in Michigan. I mean, like every week I'm like, yeah, what now? It's mental. But speaking of mental, one of the things I wanted to talk about today is that it's progressed. And if you guys remember on my show, I had Kara Schultz, Sweet Subversives, Burnsville City Councilwoman. She had gone to a huge convention of city leaders where they talked about law enforcement, and they talked about technology and innovations in city governance. And one of the things, and she's a libertarian and a big libertarian. And what's great about Kara is that she went to this convention and she found out about some of the sneaky things that cities are looking at doing in the future. And one of them that she mentioned, it felt like I knew it was coming after she had said it, was that cities are looking at testing the sewage systems. Now, you're like, why would they do that? Their main reasons that they said originally, and this was a couple years ago, was to test for people dumping pharmaceutical supplies in the water, because it hurts people. It's really hard to clean out of the water system, so fish get all drugged up, die. People a lot of times will have hormonal fluctuations. I get that, but what it's really being used for, what it could really be used for, is to test to see if there are drugs, illegal drugs being used in the neighborhood. And the systems are so high tech that they can narrow it down to a house. If you're in an apartment building, to your apartment building. They have the technology and the ability to do it. Now, you'd say that costs too much. I mean, it costs too much to do that. No, they have it really set up pretty smart. They can have it automatically testing all the time, and they can narrow it down. They can test for certain substances. They can do whatever they want. Now, what would that be used for? We had talked about was to do drug testing on people. They had said to make sure that there was no chemicals being dumped, or there was not some environmental issue going on. But really, what I see them using it for is to test you. And I didn't think it would come this quickly, but it's already being used. It's already being used, kids. And oh man, it just makes my brain hurt. So I went down the rabbit hole today because the U of M, University of Minnesota, has started using these tests on dorms on their college campus to test for COVID-19. Now, mind you, when they're doing this, have they asked for permission? Have they asked for the right to do medical testing on you or your biological refuse in any way? No, they have not. It is the beginning of this becoming something that's very common. And what's to say if they find that you're consuming opiates or something, that they wouldn't turn you in? I'm curious if they find that out from having students there. If they would, they probably would. They have morality clauses into like behavioral things for students, where they think, like, if you are drinking and you're underage, you can get kicked out of school. Are they going to do that now? Are they going to use this to check that? And they say, oh, no, of course, this is just for COVID-19. It's for our safety and making sure that our children in the schools are protected. And that's how it always starts. That's how they always get these little things to go under the radar, and then it'll never go away. I promise you. And let me find the article. I'm still obsessed with that floating city. Oh my God, that looks amazing. Where did it go? It's my other tabs. There it is. U of M testing. Let's see if I can get to it. I have too many tabs open, but I can't stop. The argument will be here, I'm going to go back to Ginger's before I click on it. The argument will be you dispose of it, therefore public. I still think it belongs to you. Do you think this will lead to people no longer using city? They'll make it illegal to not use city refuse, sewage, because they'll be like, well, if you live here, you have to use it. It's almost like with energy, like people that were making their own solar power and wind power, they were not hooked into the system, the grid, and then all of a sudden they were told they had to. And so I wonder if there'll be some way where they make people to do it. I feel like this is something that nobody's talking about, but we will see. Okay. I keep going on tangents, guys. I never will get the show done, ever. Here we go. U of M begins testing dorm sewage for COVID-19 at Twin Cities and Duluth campuses. Their goal is to detect and stop outbreaks of COVID-19 before they worsen. Sounds like a good reason, right? But it's taking away the privacy of all the students that live there. And they mentioned here in the article even, and I had looked this up too, is that they're not the only school that's doing this. The University of Arizona and Utah State University quarantined and tested hundreds of students after dorm wastewater samples led to the discovery of undetected COVID-19 cases. So the technology, as shown in the dorm case on the Arizona campus in August, could establish wastewater epidemiology, I can talk, as the leading indicator for disease outbreaks, even when those affected are asymptomatic. So you're telling me they can't get 50% of the test rate where they poke you in the brain and test for COVID, but they can look at poop in our sewage and say, yep, it's there. Let's close it down. It just seems like it's a lot of ifs put on this. And when it's obvious to me, the main use of this will be for testing drugs and other substances. And they're just putting it in place so they can be big brothering your college campuses. And I work at college. I get it. The kids are probably smoking pot and doing drugs. And really, is that anybody's business? Do we need to be spying on everyone that's in our lives? Do we allow schools to do it? Why is it okay for a school to do it? What versus a government to do it? businesses could start doing it. Think about that. You work at a company, and instead of doing drug testing, they just test the toilets. And if they get a flush that says, "Hey, there's somebody doing opiates," they could go back and look through their video records and go, "Well, who went to the bathroom at that time?" They could figure it out. So, and it's not like, and they'll probably like have things that have GPS on you, so they could probably tell anyway. It's going to be so high tech that they will know like what you had for breakfast and that kind of crap. So believe me, this is something we want to stop now before it gets out of control. It says we're at a spot in this pandemic where there is no one thing that is going to save us. And I feel like we should be trying various things that can add on to all of our collective understanding. So they say they're doing this for academic purposes. I'm interested enough in it that I want to see where it's going to go at this point. So the health department on Sunday reported a single day high. So this is one of the reasons they're really excited about it. And they want to make sure that the students aren't getting it. And the dashboard shows that 19 out of 210 students tested positive at Twin Cities Boynton Health Clinic between September 11th and 17th. So they're using the plumbing to check for the viruses. And they say humans shed the virus in their stool, as well as breath droplets and nasal secretions. And they can use the nasal swab. They can also detect it in wastewater drawn from the outflow pipe of a college dorm. So are they going to consistently start testing for viruses in our wastewater? What is the use of this? Is it going to be something that they're looking for? Is this the new normal? It feels like what I thought they were going to use this for was testing for drugs, and now it's going to be testing for COVID, but I'm pretty sure that eventually it'll go back to being testing for drugs. So they said in 2013, the scientists detected a silent outbreak of wild polio virus in sewage from Israel, southern Israel. And they showed a robot could detect opioids in wastewater to help guide treatment and harm reduction programs. So, do you think it's worth it? Do you think it's worth testing everything so you always know when people are getting sick and to just shut that down and make it so people quarantine? Do you think it is something that we need to worry about and have our privacy protected? I lean towards privacy. I always do. I get everyone is really afraid right now, though. And so, I'm going to shut that down. Is your garbage free reign? I mean, that's the way the law goes. Should it be? Should your biological samples, once they leave your house, should it not be? Should you have the right to opt in and opt out of having biological tests done on your feces without your knowledge? Should it be something that they can use in court against you? That's the way it's going to go, kids. That's all there is. And I can't say that 100% is right or wrong. I just know my initial response is they should not be doing that. It's dangerous. It's the information gets into the wrong hands. They can use that against you. And we live in a country where we're supposed to be proven innocent before we're proven guilty, right? Itchy nose. I'm sorry. My allergies. It's like all of a sudden it turned 80 again, and now I feel like I'm allergic to the world. Thanks, fake summer coming back one last time. Give me a taste and then gone with the wind. So that is one of the things. So they want to steal your poop. They want to use your poop against you. They want to test it, see if you've got the COVID. They want to test it and see if you're doing drugs. You know they will. It's just a matter of time. So I know it seems extreme and you laugh, but just mark my words. Another 10 years, this will be commonplace. They're testing it out now, seeing how it goes. I think the best thing students could do is to probably sabotage it somehow. I don't know how you do that. I don't know why I would say that, but I would just think that if they are discouraged by the results, maybe they would stop doing it. But can't really even say anything. I looked through the comments on all the articles I read about this. Hoarding their poop. If students start hoarding their poop like hoarders do in their dorm rooms, they might stop it. Yeah, like if you walk down a dorm hall and you're like, God, it smells like shit in here. It's because they don't want the man to get their poop. Dear God. I mean, that could be pretty horrible. Or they're taking them out to like a Walmart in the North Metro just so they can dump their poop in the middle of the night so that way it doesn't trace back to them. Yep. It could get crazy. It's a wild time we live in. So I just think people should be aware. And I was really grateful for Kara Schultz for bringing that up in the first place. I had no idea that was going on. And now I'm suspicious about everything, you know. It's just the way it is. But I think people should be complaining to their city. Say, if this is something that they're considering, please don't. Our money should be spent on other better uses, like improving our policing and our police force and that kind of stuff. Poop at the library. I know, right? I think that's a great idea. Because honestly, like if they're all pooping in the library, if somebody's like looking at my poop, they'll be like, well, we can't tell. There's like 8,000 different kinds of poop here because everyone poops at the library now. We could be a bastion of freedom, but the library is like, come to the library, poop. We don't track you. Which I will say, the nice thing about libraries is most of us don't want to ruin patron privacy. So we get it. Your privacy, you are the patrons. So if somebody's if the FBI is coming in and we hear they're coming in, we delete like all the privacy files because we don't want them to use it against you. So there you go. It's kind of amazing. I see Andy's home. So anyway, don't let them take your poop, okay? I feel like that's my quote. Like, don't let them take your poop. It's your privacy. It's your privacy. It's the way it is. Hello, Sarah. Yeah, I derailed my thought right there. What was the other one I saw? Poop tests at the University of Arizona that happened in late August. So it's all happening within the last month. The university tested 311 residents and dorm workers, found 2 students who had asymptomatic but positive for the virus. So they're testing poop without people knowing. I don't know like how intense this is going to be at colleges if they're looking at it in a broad stroke where they're like it's here, so we need to test everyone, or they're going to go through it and they're going to like look at drug testing, or they're going to narrow it down by like some of the dorms, the nicer ones now, they don't have shared bathrooms that everyone can use. Some of them have toilets in the rooms, so they could narrow it down to like where you live. I mean, that could be a game changer. It's kind of terrifying to me that they could be so specific about it. So if you are a college, for your safety, as Andy says, yes, it's all about the children. So I'm gonna take a look. I had a couple intellectual freedom news that I'm not that excited about this week because I was super excited about the poop issue. Let's see. It says FBI director says it's a mistake to get election information on social media. So to rely on your social media and to figure out how to vote, they say the FBI says it's a bad idea. But I don't trust the FBI either, so I don't really know if that's a great person or place to look at for like opinions on where to get your opinions. Well, the FBI said I shouldn't look at Facebook. Is it because they're speaking for the Republican side or the Democrat side? They don't want outliers, to have a voice. So that's the thing. Where was that other one? Oh yeah, there we go. One of the broadest internet censorship laws called FOSTA, plaintiffs are trying to overturn. Now, let me look at that real quick. This one was on the Electronic Frontier Foundation website, and they mentioned that FOSTA, CESTA, and FOSTA. CESTA, FOSTA. Sounds like it should be a song. The Human Rights Watch, the Internet Archive, Alex Andrews, Eric Kozik argued that the law violates the First and Fifth Amendments and the Constitution's prohibition against ex post facto laws. EFF, together with Daphne Keller at the Stanford Cyber Law Center, as well as lawyers from Davis, Wright, and Tremaine, Walters Law Group, represent the plaintiffs. So what they're doing is FOSTA has censored the internet. There's widespread internet censorship, and websites and either online services were either prohibited users from speaking or shut down entirely. So what these groups are trying to do is to stop FOSTA, FOSTA. And it creates a new federal crime for any website owner to promote or facilitate prostitution, which the Libertarian Party says sex work is work. So we don't think there should be laws on that. You should be free to do what you want as an adult without defining what those words mean. Organizations doing educational, health, and safety related work, such as the Woodhull Foundation and one of the leaders of the Sex Workers Outreach Project USA, fear that prosecutors may interpret advocacy on behalf of sex workers as a promotion of prostitution. So it's very broad, and so they shut down sites because of this kind of work. And that's something that's very interesting to me, is that they're putting their own morality spin on their censorship. So it could be something that's educational about it, and they may still think it's promoting it in some way. So, and who cares if it's promoting it some way? If it's someone who's over the age of 18 and that's their choice to do it, I really don't care. And I'll say that again, that it's not really their place to make laws and to enforce something that goes against our free speech in this way. And so I'm really glad to see that they're fighting this. Organizations and individuals, the plaintiffs in the lawsuit, are reluctant to exercise their First Amendment rights for fear of being prosecuted or sued. So these big groups are working together to try to fight the system. So FOSTA expands the potential liability for federal sex trafficking offenses by adding vague definitions and expanding the pool of enforcers. In addition to federal prosecution, website operators and nonprofits now must fear prosecution from thousands of state and local prosecutors, as well as private parties. The cost of litigation is so high that many nonprofits will simply cease exercising their free speech rather than risk a lawsuit where costs can run into millions, even if they win. So they're trampling free speech in so many ways by using these very vague laws. And the FOSTA also limits federal immunity provided to online intermediaries. The host that hosts third party speech. I don't know why I keep wanting to say potty. I think we talked about poop too much. This immunity has allowed for the proliferation of online services that host user-generated content, such as Craigslist, Reddit, YouTube, and Facebook. So if you use any of those, they're trying to limit it because they even talk about something that they say is questionable. They want to shut you down. And you're seeing more and more of that. I've heard rumors about political talk too. So if politicians have mentioned being supportive of sex workers, that they could lose their free speech on these mediums. So the removal of Section 230 protections resulted in intermediaries shutting down entire sections or discussion boards for fear of being subject to criminal prosecution or civil suits under FOSTA. So it's impacted the plaintiffs. It's the filings asking a federal court in Washington, D.C. to rule that FOSTA is unconstitutional. The plaintiffs describe how FOSTA has impacted them and a broad swath of other internet users. Some of the impacts are small, but others are devastating. There's a massage therapist named Eric Kozik who had relied on Craigslist advertising to platform to find new clients and schedule appointments. Since April 2018, he has not been able to supplement his family's income with his massage business. After Congress passed FOSTA, Craigslist shut down the therapeutic services of the website, where Kozak had been most successful at advertising his services. Craigslist further prohibited him from posting his ads anywhere else on the site, despite the fact that his massage business is entirely legal. It's not getting the happy ending, if you know what I mean, right? He hasn't found a way to get the same customer base, so it's ruining his business because of FOSTA. There's also Alex Andrews, national leader in fighting for sex workers' rights and safety, has her activism curtailed by FOSTA. Andrews has helped lead its efforts to develop a mobile app and a website that would have allowed sex workers to report violence and harassment. So it's protecting people. And the app would have included a database of reported clients that workers could query before engaging with a potential client. So dangerous people could be listed in this database, so that way other sex workers could avoid them. But because of this FOSTA rules, they would have to stop the app. And the nonprofit couldn't risk facing prosecutions under the new law. So something to think about. It's a lot of the FOSTA's rules. Yeah. Let's see. Just fight online. Okay, so that's what it means. Fight Online Sex Trafficking Act. That's what it means, right? Okay. I'm going to go down there. Okay, so there's sexual freedom. So anything kind of sexual is being prosecuted under this FOSTA Act. And they have a very broad stroke on how they can interpret this. So it can really criminalize people who had no reason to think they would ever be criminalized. People who are protecting sex workers, people advocating for them, are all at risk. One of my favorite places, the Internet Archive, it's a nonprofit library, and it's great for finding old dead websites. That seeks to preserve digital materials faces increased risk because FOSTA has dramatically increased the possibility that a prosecutor or private citizen might sue it simply for archiving newly illegal web pages that used to not be. Such a lawsuit would be a real threat for the archive, which is the Internet's largest digital library, and I would be heartbroken if that went away. So it puts Human Rights Watch in danger as well, because the organization advocates for the decriminalization of sex work. They could easily face prosecution. You want to say prostitution. They're going to prosecute them for promoting prostitution. Blah, blah, blah. So where it stands now, right? This is what we care about. When the cases now are back in district court at the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals reversed the lower court's decision to dismiss the suit. Both sides have filed motions for summary judgment. In their filings, the plaintiffs make several arguments for why FOSTA is unconstitutional. First, they argue that it's vague and overbroad. It really is. The Supreme Court has said that if the law fails to give ordinary people fair notice of that content it prohibits, it is unconstitutional. That is especially true when the vagueness of the law raises special First Amendment concerns. Next, so FOSTA does just that. It makes it illegal to facilitate or promote prostitution without defining what it means. It's very vague. So this is one of the reasons that they say it should be unconstitutional. Second, the plaintiff argues that FOSTA's Section 230 carve-outs violate the First Amendment. So let's see how I can explain this. It eliminates some of this immunity for intermediaries on the web. So like we talked about, like Craigslist or Reddit, which can be held liable for what other people say. So you could be reporting on like what's going on in something that's promoting sex work. You could just be talking about it. And because you mentioned it, it's promoting that. So it throws a lot of people under the bus for the free speech. And honestly, it makes no sense. I know where the law, this FOSTA came from the idea that there was sex trafficking and they wanted to protect people from sex trafficking. But what they came up with was too broad. They need to way tone it down, but they need to make it so people can be advocates for them, but also sex workers have rights too. I mean, they need to not we live in a country where gun violence is vilified and well, actually not vilified. Sex violence is vilified. Gun violence is kind of a higher level of art. It's masculine. Oh, that's sexy in its own way, So you see violence on TV, it's nothing. You see a boob, oh my God, it's a boob, So the third thing, okay, back to FOSTA. I'm all over the place. Plus my allergies are going crazy right now. I think I'm just going outside today. The plaintiffs argued that FOSTA is not narrowly tailored to the government's interest in stopping sex trafficking. It's not really about that. They say it was concerned. Congress passed it because they were concerned about sex trafficking, and the intent was to roll it back in order to make it easier for victims of trafficking to sue certain websites, such as what they call Backpage.com. So the plaintiffs agree with the Congress that there is a strong public interest in stopping sex trafficking, but FOSTA doesn't do that. It instead attacks sex workers. It attacks sites that promote them in any way, and not even sex workers, but anything that they consider loosely tied to sex is being affected by FOSTA. So we can really hope that this FOSTA violates the Constitution's prohibition on criminalizing past conduct that was not previously illegal, what's known as ex post facto law. FOSTA creates a new retroactive liability for conduct that occurred before Congress passed a law. During the debate over the bill, U.S. Department of Justice even admitted this problem to Congress. But the DOJ later promised to pursue only newly prosecutable criminal conduct that takes place after the bill is enacted. The government, in essence, is saying to the courts, we promise to do what we say the law means, not to do what the law clearly says, which is bad. It's a bad law. It needs to go. But the Department of Justice cannot control the actions of thousands of local and state prosecutors. They have it written. They are following it. Of course they would. So the internet should remain a place where robust debate occurs without fear of lawsuits or jail time. So if you are interested in learning about something new, go out and look into FOSTA and understand that there are people working right now to try to overturn FOSTA, and the internet censorship is in the worst place it's ever been. So it's just mind blowing. Oh, let's see. Okay, here's Jerry. Let's see. I heard colleges aren't giving out a second semester schedule. The college told them it will be online. That's what they're telling us too. That it could change at any time, Jerry. It honestly, I think it's so up in the air. I'd prefer if we could come back. I like seeing people. I like working with the students. I think that the main thing is that there's so much fear and kind of fear mongering because of the spikes that go up and down, that they're prepared to not even have classes in the spring. I think it's a mistake. I think they should have some sort of hybrid system at the very least, and then have people have the choice if they want to come in or not. Because when we follow the rules, it's pretty safe. If you don't feel like you're safe or you're sick, don't come to school. There's virtual options for everyone. Now, speaking of that, I gotta God, my allergies are killing me. And then Ginger says sex workers need job protection, not being litigated out of a job, or making it more illegal to the point where they have to go into super hiding and live like criminals. I mean, it shouldn't be that way. It's a natural human function. That's all I can say about that. I don't understand these kind of rules that are made up to protect people, and they clearly are set up to actually just hurt websites and make it so it doesn't work. They pay all that money and are they gonna refund or prorated? No. Yeah, it's a racket. They're scared. I mean, that I work in a college. I know they're scared. They really all they look at is the bottom line. Administration definitely. The faculty and the that work with students don't feel that way. A lot of us worry about safety, and we want to have good quality. There's a lot of students. I work in a community college that can't do it online. They can't be at home. They have too many family members there. They have a bad place to study. They don't have internet. They don't have the resources, and some of them are just not coming back this semester or next semester. It's going to be devastating to all of us in colleges everywhere. I mean, part of me is like, that's the ropes. You have a pandemic like this, of course people are they're gonna change their lives. I actually am taking like 2 classes right now just because online is so easy to do, and I'm stressed out, and I get it. I prefer in-person classes. I've always preferred that. Online classes are fine. I don't mind doing this. I don't mind talking. I've taught an online class, and it went really well. It's just, you think about the in-person class and the prep work you have to do, but an online class, it feels like it's 3 times more work to prep, 3 times more work for the students. And I think people are already stressed out in this environment. I'm not sure how long this can last. And some people do love the online classes because it's like good for their schedules. It's good for any of it. But I mean, how is this sustainable? I don't think so. I don't want to learn that way. Part of me, part of my education fantasy world is to come up with a new system of education that where you get to really personalize what each person needs. And they may go, I want to be a doctor. And you like get to know them and you go, yeah, that's not a good idea. And you can put them on the right path, by understanding what their needs are and what their talents are and their skills. I just think that the one size fits all education doesn't work for everyone. It never will. But oh my God, I went down a dark path with some of this. But 2 things I want you to get out of today. Don't let them take your poop. If you start hearing about it, college campuses that you're at, that they're looking into it, protest it. It's only going to lead to worse and worse things. If they're going to start doing it in your city, go talk to the city council. Do everything in your power to make it not happen. I know that they're going to say it's going to help prevent COVID. Don't let it happen, because once it's in place, you'll never get rid of it. And 2, look at FOSTA. Try to be an advocate. Sign a petition. Be a vocal person against these kind of internet censorship, because that's what we this is why we're here, right? This is why we're on the internet. If not, I'm going to make a new internet, because screw this. If we can't talk about this, we can't protect the people that we actually need to protect, and we can't fight laws that are unjust. This is what we're here for. This is why we talk every week. So please at least think about those things. So I'm going to go take my allergy medicine. I have like extra stuff I take when it's really bad, but I'm so glad. Oh, what's this? Not for screen. Oh shit. Sorry. You gotta send it to instant messenger. Or send it to the private chat. I don't even know how you do that on here though. But yes. It's a lot of stuff to worry about. So please take care of you. I love you guys. I hope you have a great rest of the week. Yeah, I can never see my nose is turning red from it. Ugh, so allergic. Ugh, nature, yuck. I love you guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. I'm so glad that you got to join me today, and let's have some fun. And next week we'll find something new to talk about. So have a good week. See you later, my friends. Bye bye.